presented many slideshows on educational quotes. This one you have seen already. This is one of my favorites. What I'd like you to do again, choose another one which you didn't choose last time. Choose a different one. And then write it down. Choose just one.
Like one process.
And it's not something you learn at school.
Yeah, it's not specifically related to school, but it's let's say it's a lifelong process, which means we acquire it from life, not only from school. And as far as our person as educator is concerned, I guess being wise means being a good teacher. If we may
good educator.
Yeah, a good educator.
Thank you, Sir. Yes, yeah.
Yes, he probably meant wisdom is where will it go when you reach, okay, as educators, when you reach that point. Okay, it's a long process, and we're learners trying to reach that stage. Let's actually focus on imagination. The position I'm trying to do the most is imagination takes us to new worlds, but without it, we will nowhere. In other words, we should always be creative, find new ways to adapt our teaching practices to our students' needs. And finding ways to attract attention and to make our job easier.
Good. Thank you. What else? Any other volunteers? Anyone?
My colleague chose keep it simple. And I would like to teach you is the same as keep it simple, stupid.
Yes.
That's the same?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Even if it's stupid, just keep it simple.
she said that it's putting yourself in the place of your students and try to simplify life for them, try to cater for their needs and let's say help them to see the lesson as something which is reachable, not difficult.
Is privilege. Yeah. Well explained. In other volunteers? Yes, anyone else? Anyone? Yes, Mrs. Tazi?
My colleague chose she said practice makes perfect, and she thinks that the more we practice, the better we do, and the nearer we are to perfection and doing things in various ways.
Good. Practice makes perfect. Yes, please?
It's the same quotation as my colleague chose. Practice makes perfect. It means that the more you practice and you do things, the more you learn and you make things become better.
Yes, or learn it, yes. And for the project.
Okay, just chosen, fail until you fail. Okay, you never give up, you have to try and try. For example, the lesson doesn't work in a certain way, you have to change that way, try other ways to teach the same lesson, and that's with other things in all of the life, or just with our professional development.
Sort of all life. Yes, good. Yes,
The same. Mrs. Vali has chosen practice makes perfect, and for practice, the more we practice, the more our teaching and our students' learning is better.
Quotation she chooses is keep it simple. Keep it simple. So simplicity makes teaching take place. So make students more motivated and enjoy things they learn. Okay, use it very easy. Things you make it simple for yourself and also for them, not to challenge them all the time. Of course, you need to make things simple.
Thank you.
And we all know the story of the transfer. The kid can remain.
Do you remember the quotation about pencils? About crayons? Crayons. What does it say?
There are some things which are very important. The first thing is that inside the pencil is more important than outside, and as an educator we have to pay attention for our thoughts, for everything which is inside, not only educators but also for our students. The second thing is to correct mistakes. Again, the pencil is capable to correct mistakes, and whenever we make a mistake, we have to correct it as an educator. And the other one is that the pencil do or does important things and brief things. That's why as an educator, during our task of teaching, we help students to do the most important things in their lives.
I think we'll just rush. I'll just brief you, as we say, briefly. What's been happening so far. So I'll start first with class visits. It's been going on well. I've been visiting, I don't think, is there a teacher observed here recently? This year. Yes, Hussein observed you. Let's see, Heavy.
My colleague.
And your colleague. Yeah, your colleague as well. Anyone else I've seen recently? Can you tell us a little visit about the observation?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
It's a visit that lasts only 20 minutes. The supervisor come and sit at the rear of the classroom. And before he told me that it's not a supervision, it's just a visit.
It's not for evaluation.
Yeah, it's for evaluation, it's just a visit. After the 20 minutes, just he provided me with a sheet full of about 8 or 10 questions that I should answer, but not orally, but I have to write a kind of a report and to send it to him through the email. That's all. It's very short.
How do you feel while you go to the experience?
As if the supervisor is not there.
I mean, while you were answering and doing the research for the questions, was it rewarding? Was it productive?
Yeah, of course, because you kind of research, you
Try to remember.
no, not to recapitulate, but you reflect on yourself first and your experience of teaching, and you learn things, ideas.
Actually, the questions were meant to help teachers reflect on their teaching practices. But if you see the opportunity and you reflected upon yourself as a person, that would be great also. Thank you, sir. Let's see.
I guess it was the same.
Can you remember any of the questions?
Yes, like what other resources would you use, or can we teach the same students, all the students the same way? How could you have taught the lesson to other groups?
Good. How did you find the experience?
It was very fruitful, especially that it was stress-free. So it was, let's say, an opportunity for me to make some literature review about teacher, and it took me back to the INS training days in which we had assignments. I benefited.
Good to hear. So this is the way it's been going on, and this is the way, inshallah, if you go. It just provides the teachers with an opportunity to reflect upon their teaching practices. So it's not the top-down thing. This is me, supervisor, telling you what to do. It's after yourself, helping people, helping themselves. So next, now today we're going to, starting today, we're having 2 other groups. We're starting today, this is going to be the last workshop in the assessment for learning module. It's going to serve a recap about the notion of assessment for learning in general, about the techniques that you use, and
teachers and with the students at the Access Center there. And from there I moved to Deshera. And along with Deshera and the Access Center, I've been working with 8 public school teachers, most of whom are here today. And we're reading a book called Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And we are having the experience of taking part in a literature circle, so that when the teachers introduce literature circles to their English students, to their English class students, they will have not just a theoretical or an academic background and knowledge of literature circles, but they will actually have had the experience of being part of a literature circle. So I hope we'll have a deeper ability to guide their students to facilitate effectively.
That I think would be useful to just share it on that, on the newsletter. We also try to publish videos of our workshops, of our meetings. And another thing that happened just this past week, as I told you maybe in the email, is that some colleagues of mine and I attended a workshop in Marrakesh. It was organized by the British Council. So the topic was continuous professional development in the Maghreb. So we had supervisors and trainers from Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya. So as you can see, it's not just the teachers who go through professional development, it's also trainers and supervisors. So we learn from each other. And we discussed notions relating to continuous and continuing professional development in general, strategies of professional development, effectives to continuous professional development, collaborative, the beliefs that people have about continuous professional development. And I think almost everyone agreed that unless we do reconsider or reflect upon those beliefs that we have about professional development, we cannot go any further. I'll share with you this when I get the electronic format. The good thing about it, or at least our group here in Agadir, is that when we started talking, they started talking about the main features of successful professional development, that we realized that since we're working in such communities, teacher learning communities, we do have most of the features of a successful teacher learning community. And I remember the people or the friends, the colleagues from Algeria, Libya, and Tunisia, they came to me most during break and said, can you please tell us more about the work that the teachers in Agadir do? And we'll keep in touch with them. Another thing that we've been working on is, I assume you all got that handout about the practical recommendations. Did you all get it to your administration? How did you feel about this? I wasn't sure if it's going to be of any use.
Very useful.
Very useful. Good. I just wanted to make sure that to help you feel that you're making progress in your teaching practices. Because we meet from time to time and they say this is what researchers say about assessment, this is what they say about successful teaching, about successful learning. But if you could have a set of practical ideas that you can take one at a time and they say, I'm making progress. This one I'm just starting. I arrived to the 5% stage. This one I'm not convinced of. So one of them, as Julie mentioned right now, sitting in reading logs for every class. Having students write just personal journals, just one sentence each, etc. So what I would advise you to do, I would recommend is if you could please keep that with your case attached, with the class record, so that you can refer to it from time to time. The other project, which is very dear to us that we're working on, is the 100 resource centers. This is a national and nationwide program. And I know many of you are involved in the program. For those who are not, books are here. These are courtesy of the RELO, Regional English Language Office, and the British Council. So anyone, I said it last time, I'm saying it again. If any one of you is interested in starting an English club in their school, we've got the materials to start with. Readers, pocket dictionaries, maybe a CD, you're welcome. We just want to make sure that you have one per school. because if we start, it's better if you could coordinate with your colleagues. Access program is also going well. The news for MorseNet, I know some of our friends here are members of the board, like to see Mustafa is a member. Awatif is a member. Anyone else on this? The good news about MorseNet is that we're extending to other parts of the country. We're going to set up access centers. So we're going to set up, inshallah, an access center in Tidwan and Fnida. We already have one in Nador. We're going to set up a new one in Gulmina, which is the Rashidiyah, which is the Algerian border. And of course, in our area, we're going to set up one in Casablanca with Said.
Excellent.
Yeah. And any more? Zagora. A village next to us is it? Tinghir. Yes, we do have Fnida, Casablanca, Gulmina, Terudant, another one in Uletema, Tikewin. These are the old ones, Penselgal, Zagora, Tinghir, Warzazat, and Midlift. So and now we have 6 already that are running. There is one in Nador, there is one in Shishawa, there is one in Stat, in Zgan, Shtuka. That's the last one. We don't know. Qasr al-Kabir. Qasr al-Kabir, yes, thank you. Qasr al-Kabir is next to. Before we carry on, I just want to remind you about make sure you use this regularly as you can. By the way, when we got to Marrakesh, this is the gift that the British Council gave to the supervisors from the whole Maghreb. And they liked it so much. And they were thrilled that when I told them that people in Agadir, teachers in Agadir, are already using it. We also explained that these are teachers from Agadir who won the international scoreboard. So this booklet with teachers from Agadir and students from Agadir now is being used in the whole Maghreb and in the Middle East as well, which is sort of, I wouldn't say publicity, but just sort of fame. In other words, you see that you're getting more and more popular just in your area. Just a quick recap. Now, today you're going to meet with your friends, colleagues, not leaders in the sense of leaders, but just be facilitators. And since this is the final session, you're going to be reminded of the techniques that we talked about. So I'll do this very, very quickly through this handout, and you have another handout. You have here the Is that it? Okay, we've got the definition of assessment for learning. This is it. And when we talk, this is a general idea. In order to help you implement, you can do it through 5 what? Strategies, which are number 1, learning intentions. Okay, these are the definitions of each. We need to make sure that we share our goals and learning intentions with our students. Number 2. Number 3, it's about feedback. Good, very good is not going to move students forward. Please keep this in mind. Providing students strategies and tools so that they can provide feedback on their own work and also use peers as resources for peer assessment. This is, remember we talked about good learning intentions should be important. Now, here are some, in order to find out what students are learning, you can use techniques like ABCD cards. Yes. Glass codes. Post-it notes, it's like you do have a continuum on the board. And students, they have to stick their post-it note depending on where their position is about that issue. For example, I think that ecology problems or environment problems are man-made. If you think they are man-made, yes, to this, you keep your notes to the right. If not, then you keep it, so you post it to the left. So continue. Weight Watchers. I know many teachers say they can't help themselves because they've been used to the idea. Once they ask a question, they expect an answer right away. So if you can do it, you can ask students to help you with this. Can you please time my phone a friend, which is famous on TV? Feedback that makes students think. When there is no thinking, we say there is no learning. How can you make students think? Number one, you delay the marking. Number two, mastery marking. In other words, you can only give an A, etc. when students have reached in their work, their production, a certain level, certain quality. Plus, minus, and equals depending on the progress they've made from the first draft up to the second and last. Responding to marking. Here, marking doesn't mean the grade. It means the teacher's feedback. They have to respond to it. Focus marking, you have to target specific areas. This one is very good. Find and fix your mistakes. To your students, in your essay you have made 5 mistakes. Can you find them out and correct them for yourself? So while you're looking for the mistake, relearn the mistake in place.
I think this has been also added in the rubrics of
yes.
the exam.
Yeah.
The baccalaureate exam.
Yeah. The new rubrics, yes. Margin marking, yes. All you do for margin marking, you put a cross to on the margin and you tell the students you have a mistake on this line. Can you go and look for it? Traffic lights, you all know. Aim for the next level. So they have a sort of reference, sort of benchmark that you show them at the beginning. Say, how can you make sure that you have reached that level? And giving students who talked about this, we'll just go quickly to the how to help students provide support for each other. You know what carousels are? These are sort of rides that you have in an amusement park. So what students do, they get into groups, they write the first draft, and they turn. They give it to the person next to them, and that person provides them with feedback on their work. And the other person provides more feedback. And when you get your paper back, you've got feedback from 5 different peers. Improved evaluation. So they have the first, second, third draft, and they have to identify the improvement. 2 stars in the wish is also very, very useful. For homework help, students just get together and they just focus on the questions they couldn't answer at home. Next one, identifying group weaknesses. It's students get together and they say, what do you think was problematic with what we learned today? And they come to the teacher, say, teacher, we have one common problem, this is it. Can you please help us with this? Next one, they have to collect their answers and they come up with one answer. You can also provide them with a checklist. Okay, for question strips, these are, by the way, there is a tendency in most of our teaching is that we usually take it for granted that the teacher asks questions and students respond. This one way of counterbalancing this is asking students, can you please ask a question about today's lesson? And the next one, of course, they have to use traffic lights. If they read a peer's production, they say, understand it very well. So they just use the green. I have problems understanding some of it. It's the amber. And then the final one, red. I don't understand anything. Let's keep going on this question. The final thing is that on this handout, But they're trying to put all those ideas together.
Well, the activities that we debated last time were short of time.
Techniques, no hands up, and the way to it shows, traffic lights, and be teachers. Be the teacher, or be teachers. Like these techniques, I'd like to use them because the new kind students just relax and think about what they want to do and what they are going to do. And to avoid some shouting and wondering and also laughing in the class. Each one laugh should know that it's his turn to be a teacher. And also to improve their self-improvement for learning, especially for that shy students. They haven't the courage to participate, or they just try to hide themselves from the eyes of teacher. I'm going to use these techniques for all my classes that I teach.
With no exception.
With no exception.
Okay.
Okay, I will focus on two techniques: delayed marking and be the teacher. So here I chose those two ones so as the student become more autonomous, responsible of their own learning, and they know where they are. They are progressing or not. Okay, that's it. So I use already hands out and the other techniques. So these two techniques I find interesting.
Okay. Yes, please. This is Zaidi.
I choose three techniques. Class vote to be the teacher and find and fix your mistakes. Especially class vote and find and fix your mistakes. I choose them to use them in reading and writing, especially. I'm going to use them with core classes.
Good. Thank you. And
yes, I'm going to use the peer support techniques because I feel that my students are not able to give peer support, so I'll try them with all the levels.
do you have how many levels have you got?
2 levels.
2 levels.
First year and chemical.
Thank you.
So, the techniques that I have already used is hands down, sharing examples with workshop. The new one that I'm going to use to try is class vote, interesting, as I heard it from my colleagues, and be teachers. Be teachers as a peer learning. Okay? Students learn from their friends. Okay? It will be a good experience for them to learn from each other. It's a kind of students. Teacher learning, not teacher students. And thank you very much.
Okay. Which techniques have you chosen?
Techniques that I'm going to use.
Yes.
Yeah, sharing intelligence that use it more and more. Find and fix your mistakes, student summary, and be the teacher. Even we have already said be the teacher in the English club.
And which classes are you usually using?
Third level.
Middle
Middle school students.
Any other comments? No? Because it tells us to use only 1 minute for each student. Yeah. Maybe one minute. 1 minute. Yeah. 1 minute. Yes. Okay. Please.
Okay, so just repeat it. The AFL techniques that I'm not consistently using are hands down, wait time, and my triangle of learning. What I'm doing less is the traffic lights. I find other ways to know a student if they understand or not the lesson. Of course, the results are satisfactory, students were satisfied, they become more autonomous, more responsible for their own learning, and they give each time new ideas and enrich the class with their ideas. That's it.
And have you ever observed any of your colleagues using this in class?
Not really.
Honestly speaking? No. That's the last question.
And influence.
Yes. Okay, good. Yes, please.
The two techniques that I'm frequently using is hands down.
Yes.
That allow me to be more, to make students more involved, okay? And to have less noise in the classroom. The second one is wait time, is to provide students with enough time to think, to reflect on the question or the exercise provided to them to do. And the techniques that I'm less doing, or the techniques that I didn't try, is the traffic light, ABC card, and basketball discussion. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, have you ever observed any teacher? Or has any teacher ever observed?
I didn't have the opportunity to observe any teacher, and I would like to have a teacher to observe me, not to observe me.
Yes.
No problem. Two teachers, no problem. Yeah, I have no problem.
Good. No?
Techniques that I'm using, my no hands up, my learning log, and find and fix your mistake. What I'm doing less of compared with last year, I think this question is general, it doesn't have to do with the techniques. I'm doing less teacher talking time and less spoon feeding. And the outcome is, I think my students became, let's say, more critical learning.
And you feel satisfied?
Generally speaking, yes.
Has anybody ever observed you? Have you observed
we have a problem with the timetables. We work at the same time, simultaneously, but we'll find the room for this. We'll try to 3 year. Yes.
Good, thank you.
The three techniques that I've been used are ABC cards, hands down, traffic lights, and entrance ticket. The one I used less, exit ticket. Concerning how students' learning has improved over the year, I've noticed that hands down makes the students alerted and pay attention most of the time. Traffic light helps me, and especially shy learners, to make me know when they need my help.
Thank you.
So.
Please.
The techniques that I am now recently using, number one is no hands up, then weight watches, then be the teacher. And the techniques that I am doing less compared to the last year is, I don't remember the name of the technique, which is Phillips 6, something like this. Sitting students in groups of 6 students. Phillips 6. Yeah, traffic lights and mini whiteboard. I use mini whiteboard especially for games, for dictation, and it worked. How students' learning has improved, it means students learn from each other, especially when sitting in groups. They learn more from each other than from the teacher, and they become more responsible with their learning. That's it.
Thank you very much.